Hey filmmakers and creatives, I know, sometimes making a film with a shoestring budget can be very challenging, but also when you are creative, it can be hugely rewarding. Like it will reward you, of course. So, of course, today I want to take us through like how do you prepare and plan while working on a low budget film set. Yes, someone asked that question, and this question was very genuine, like asking for how do I prepare or plan for a low film budget. And I know most of us here in this space of independence filmmaking, we work through that spaces. We work through is on very low budget film sets, zenye ziko na budget very tight. And guys, so sit back and let me take you through the lessons. Let me take you through some of the tips you can consider while organizing a low film budget. So of course there are several things we are going to consider, and number one, we are going to start with planning and pre-production. So when you are intending to do to fund or maybe to work on a film set that is a very low budget, the most important key thing that you need to consider here is how you plan your set, how you plan and do pre-production. It is very important to spend a lot of time on your pre-production, because preparedness will make your production a success. So number one, what are some of the things that you should be able to key things that you should consider while doing pre-production on film set? Number one, you need to make your schedule, make your shooting schedule early. So you've identified this is a script you're going to work on. So of course, after you've identified that this is a script you're going to work on, the immediate thing that you're going to do is plan for the shoot. Like start planning for the shoot. Like say for example, I want to shoot this movie on this particular day. I'm shooting this movie by the end of this month. I'm shooting this movie in the next coming 2 weeks. I'm shooting this movie next week. Okay? Be very specific and have a very clear timeline that you're setting up when you're doing this, especially when it comes to pre-production. The other thing is do a very good script breakdown of all the items and all the things that are needed in that particular production. Like, don't leave anything unturned. For example, you have a very short film script, and you read through, do a breakdown, understand how many cast, how many locations, and all those stuff. So once you have understood, like, this movie has a number of locations, a number of scenes, and that they are going to be shot in different locations, you quickly identify that and start working around to make sure that you get the correct permits and release forms from maybe the actors and also the locations that you're going to shoot. So make sure you get the permits, please. I know we live in this part of the world whereby sometimes we ignore some of those small things, like a location permit, of course, because this is my friend's house, so we are going to use it. Of course, okay, I know sometimes yeah, we can use a friend's house, you can use a B&B and stuff like that, but it's always very important for you to have a written permission from the owner, even if they're your friend. Just draft a simple permit and share with them so that they can sign and acknowledge that I've given you permission to use my space. Yes, it is their private space. Don't be the person of see, tutakuja tu kushoot kwako, like, yeah. So I know it's very hard, but guys, let's embrace that. Let's embrace professionalism while working on this stuff, because it has idea in the near future when we start working on big budget sets. Also, maybe because you're shooting on you've identified the location and it's in the streets, is in public spaces, make sure you get the necessary permits. Usiende tena pale hivyo muko na low budget, na nyinyi mnaenda kujipeleka tao, mnajua kanjo wanakuja hapa, mnakuja mtainterfere na businesses za wase na hamna permission ya kushoot in that particular area. Make sure you go to talk to relevant authorities to give you permission to shoot. And I know, because you guys are starters, kindly just follow the rule. Enda kwa ofisi ya kanjo, waambie tu wakuandikie ka permit kadogo tu, ka permission tu, alafu utembe na hiyo permission. Alafu sometimes when you're shooting, there's some people who are very stubborn they might want to appear, or they might walk through your frame. Especially when you're shooting documentaries, utapata msee amepita tu hapo ameangalia kamera, sasa ametokea ndani na maybe hauwezi cut because ulikuwa na record something very essential and you couldn't want to lose that frame. So have your AD or somebody like a PM who will be able to have anatembeana release forms. Release forms ni nini? Release forms ni hizi forms zenye somebody who has appeared in a film unampatia anasign. For example, kama ni cast, anasign that release form, inaitwa talent release form, whereby they have accepted their image to be used in that particular footage or in that particular documentary or in that particular short film. Isikue umeshoot tu movie yako vizuri, alafu kuna msee ametokea hapo akasema ni shoot nitoke, ukamshoot, then ikafika time ya kwenda release project imetrend, project has grown big, you didn't have any agreement with this person all of a sudden sues you, mnasaviwa tu na court order fulani hapo hivyo ati you use somebody's image and you never paid them. Why? It is because you assumed like this is my friend or this is somebody just amesema anataka kuapia. Ati mnataka kutokea hapa kwa hii scene. Piteni hivi, piteni. Hey, guy, my guy. You never know how this thing is gonna hit in the near future. So please, just make sure that you have all those loopholes covered, okay? Now, the other thing also you just need is to do is create a shortlist and a call sheet. Hey, don't miss out on that, because shortlist inakusaidia kuprepare. Unajua uko na very little time, you have a very low budget, so you don't have the luxury of time of doing a lot of things, of doing a lot of shots. Be very particular. Kama uko na scene, movie yako iko na scenes 3, and these scenes, or maybe there are 5 scenes, plan the scenes very adequately. Like, do the shortlist whereby you'll identify on scene 1 I'm only doing 5 takes, and I'm doing 5 takes that are enough, with enough coverage. I don't need to do more than that, because if I start doing more than that, it means I'm going to spend more time. And also when you're making shortlist, it is going to help you also just identify these pages, these 3 pages, how much time should we spend on shooting 3 pages? Utajua uko na, kama ni 3 pages, utaipea approximately maybe 3 hours shooting 3 pages, and then have a buffer time ya allow for all that thing to everything else yenye, maybe in case something goes wrong, you have maybe lighting ikwe shida ama setup, camera setup or something of the sort, unaweza sort very quickly because you have some bit of buffer time to work around. Okay, you have a call sheet. Call sheet is that daily sheet that is given to crew and cast by the AD to inform the crew members and even the cast members of what is happening, what time, where, and when, and for how long is it supposed to be happening. Like, what is the anticipation of the length of time that particular activity is supposed to be happening. Okay, good. So after having done all that, now also we go to the next tip where you need to be very, very careful when it comes to planning or organizing for a low budget production. The next tip here, we are going to talk about assembling a small crew. Please, guys, don't, it's not a blockbuster. So get those essential crew members that you will need for that particular project, okay? Of course, for example, you might want to have as many people as possible on your film set, but if the budget doesn't allow you to have as many people as possible, pick the most crucial one, and also bank on people who are ready to volunteer and work with you, because maybe you can't afford those people who are the big producers, the big DPs, the big directors, or maybe those particular name of directors that you might dream to work with, because you are working on a low budget. Yes, so please make sure you assemble a small group of crew and even cast for this particular project. Usiende kwa, sometimes if you go for A-listers, let them be the people who are volunteering to just umewasilia the idea, umewasilia vision, na wame come through for the project. But majority of the time, just make sure that you have a small crew, and most of this crew unaweza wapata from film schools, unaweza wapata from these community forums, the filmmakers, and some of them peer festivals. People meet in festivals and say like, hey, niaje, tuna exchange number, tutawak pamoja. Yeah, so you also do that, and you can be able to get a team. So these are the people I'm going to mention that are very essential when it comes to planning for that or working on such a project, which is a low budget. So number one, you need a producer who is very essential in managing budgets and even the sets, and making sure that all the things that are being done during the production day or what is required during production day imekuwa provided na imepatikana at the right time and with the right quantity, of course, and just making sure that things are running smoothly for the production to flow. Then the other person you need is a director. A director, of course, will lead the team, both the technical and the creative team, towards achieving the visual and the visual look of the project. So while the producer is worrying about the money aspect and also the managerial aspect, the administrative aspect, the director will be there to lead and ensure that the visual and the creativity of the execution of the story is done properly. So you'll have a producer and make sure you have a director. The other person you need to have is a DP, a director of photography, somebody who is operating the camera. And this is someone who will be there to just make sure that the shots are captured as per the visual creativeness, or maybe the short list yenye imekuwa prepared na director. So the DP is the person who will be organizing, like to make sure that the lighting is on point, and also the camera angles and frames and movements are very, very done nicely, and also just to make sure that they achieve that cinematic look and make the project look expensive. Yes, in as much as it's a cheap production, because most of the time you don't see people who are behind the camera. You only see people in the front, so you don't know how many people are behind. Yeah, and yeah, who knows? You can have a crew of 3 people and you're making a blockbuster, and then people are like, hey, wait a minute, so how many people are you? You're only 3. And then you're like, oh, 3 people and you made all these? Anyway, the other person you need who is very essential on a film set is also an AD, and an AD is there to make sure that the planning of things and also making sure that the call sheets and the scheduling of things are done properly, so that we don't miss out on anything while we are going on set to shoot. And so this is the person who is also in charge of making the call sheet and provide daily directions of how the crew and the cast should move and where, and just give information of where and when they're expected to do, when and where and what is expected of them to do. Great. The other person you need who is very essential is a sound person. Yes, you need somebody. Oh, audio is very key. Now for this one, you can pay $1 for it, or you can maybe just get somebody, talk to somebody who knows how to do sound and they come to volunteer on your set, because audio is king and audio will help you tell your story very adequately. People will forgive you when you have bad camera shots and movements, but people will not forgive you. The audience especially, they will not forgive you when you have bad audio. Bad audio is something, it's a grave mistake. Yes. Imagine if you would be having bad audio with me right now. You'd switch off, like you'll not continue listening to me. Good. So now, sound, you get somebody who has the sound gear, who knows how to operate the sound gear, who understands the dynamics of sound, so that you can have very proper sound that is recorded on set. Hii sasa usitafute watu sasa wenye umetoka film school sana. Okay, kama ametoka film school and understand sound, well and good. If ametoka maybe ni mtu ana learn sound, hey, that one will be tricky. So you'd rather get somebody who understands sound and work with them so that you can be able to do a proper sound recording for your shoot. The other person you need some PA, like a production assistant, mtu mwenye unaweza saidia, unaweza tuma errands hapa na pale, who can help around, because I know a lot of these crew members, because we are having a very low budget or a shoestring budget, you are going to work with a very few crew, and people are going to double up roles. For example, yu msemo anafanya DP, bado ndo msewa light, bado ndo msewa camera na operate camera, and it will be important akiwa na PA wa kumsaidia maybe kubeba light, set ile light pale, eka hii kitu hivi, ile camera ni charge zile battery nifanyie hivi. Yeah, so you need someone like maybe at least 2 PAs, or you can get interns who are maybe students from a film school to just intern on your set and learn and help you around in making the story come to life. Then the other person you need somebody who can be able to also help around in hair and makeup, because it is something we ignore sometimes, but it's very, very important. And also this person more hair and makeup, and as a double up pia ka production design, helping out in setting up things and making sure that ana guide pia anakuwa na assistant kake pale anamguide, anamuonyesha where to get some certain props and work around to make sure that the production is going smoothly when it comes to design from the body, hair, and even the setup. Good. The next tip that you need to understand is choosing of locations when you're doing low budgets. So choosing of locations is very, very important, and I know sometimes use free and maybe real locations, because ukianza kwenda sasa pale mambo ya green screen, LED, VFX, pale kwa editing utaimba, but you will have to pay a penny. But now, because you're working on a shoestring budget, be ready to use real locations. So if you don't have maybe, for example, you want your story is based in a street and a house, source for streets that are not busy and you cannot be disturbed there by sijui watu wakanjo, sijui permits, nini vitu kama hizo. Be some bit of maybe smart also. When you're doing scouting, be very smart. Tafuta B&Bs zenye unaweza tumia for your shoot to tell your story, because I know B&Bs, some of them are very well decorated. They can have some bit of furnitures and things that you'll need to tell your story, and sets that are just ready sets, because you're not going to build anything. You're going to ready and real sets. Then the other thing is also be careful with permits, especially when you're going to shoot outside or you're going to shoot in public spaces, whereby you'll be required to produce a permit for you to be allowed to shoot in those spaces. So make sure you also be careful with permits. Na ni kitu tumeongelea pale juu tukasema when we said about how you need to obtain permits. Of course, after you doing a script breakdown, of course utakuwa unajua hii movie natumia locations 3, na among the 3 locations niko na locations 2 zenye ni public space, of which I want to use to tell my story. So how do you go about it? So you go acquire the required permits and so that you can work with them and use them when you're going to shoot in those spaces. Then the other bit also, just employ some guerrilla tips of filmmaking. Yes, I'll talk about guerrilla tips of filmmaking, because you're a small crew. You don't need to block a road. You want to use a public space and you're blocking a road. Why should you block a road? You have your director, have your DP, and have the sound guy, and even maybe one PA, and go to the roadside and shoot your scene with the cast, and finish, move from there, go to the next scene. Wacha hii stories juu mnataka kwenda kujezana kwa barabara, mnafunga biashara za watu, people cannot move. So when you want to, because now that one will call you to pay so much for your permit to shoot in town, or maybe shoot in those public spaces. Yes. So make sure you also learn some guerrilla tips. Like mnaenda pale hivyo mnajua mko na shortlist. Pale hivyo tutashoot umse anatembea kivuka barabara Kenyatta Avenue. So akitembea kivuka barabara, what we are going to do, we are going to place our camera at this corner and this corner and this corner, and you are going to repeat the movement 3 times, and we are finished, and we move out from that space. Hata hamtakuwa mmeinterfere, mtapata tu watu wanapita hivi, mna time, wakishapita hivi mnafanya your scene, wakishapita tena mnafanya your scene, you finish, you move to the next thing, so that you avoid blocking the road, causing a lot of chaos, and also some bit of attention from the passerby. Watakuwa zile za like, hey, so what are you doing bwana, muna shoot, nyinyi ni wa TV gani? Unasikiaga venye watu wanaulizaga, nyinyi ni wa TV gani, mnaweza ni hoji? You meet those people when they see you with camera. Niko na maoni nataka kutoa. Yes. Wewe sasa uko na simu ya smartphone, toa maoni yako, weka TikTok, weka Facebook, weka whichever place. Wacha kusumbua watu ambao wamejipanga wanashoot. Ukiona mtu anashoot pale na lighting yake, wacha kuuliza unataka kutoa maoni. Shoot na smartphone yako huko. Anyway. Na kama ni ya maoni utaulizwa, lakini kama si ya maoni hautaulizwa. Then this one leads us to the next tip, whereby you need to understand when it comes to organizing for a low budget film, you need to do what we call get essential gears, like budget or plan for essential gears. So of course, essential gears, when you're going to shoot, you'll need gears in the form of cameras, sound gear, lighting gear, and maybe some bit of other accessories like memory cards. Mse anaweza kupatia pia kamera na hajakupea kadi. So when you're going to get cameras, get these DSLRs or mirrorless cameras, because you don't need to go the cinema expensive cameras yet, because I know maybe the budget doesn't allow you. But if you have a friend who has a cinema camera, well, guys, go do it. Yes. So because maybe you've borrowed these things, man. Sometimes you don't need to buy, or you don't need to go and rent. You can rent or you can borrow from a friend. Mwambie kuja ukue associate producer bwana. Kuja na hii kamera yako bwana, to shoot kitu. Then they come with the camera, you shoot the project. So just make sure the camera is able to capture some good cinematic shots and cinematic resolution from 1080p all the way to 4K. Yeah, and even 6K. You capture that thing as long as you can editor pia pale ata make sure pambana na kazi ya editing na produce kitu mzuri. The other thing is audio recorder and mics. Like, hapa kwa sound manze, make sure you get the best quality audio recorders and microphones, because okay, you might want to get the best, so but they are those essential. However, please just go for the best, because you got that sound guy uko. Kama akona equipment, it is well and good, and you can bring them on board, like to be part. Even mwambie basa kwa associate producer, mpatie some rights in that production, because you never know when this thing is gonna hit and this thing is gonna produce something good for you guys, because it might produce something you might be shooting right now. This is 2025, but when it comes to 2030, that is when the project is making sense and people are reaping from it, and then you're like, okay, where was I? Why didn't I see this? Yeah. But make sure you also do some bit of proper agreements, so that you don't what wasifinyike, what wasifeel like you may give a lot yet I'm not receiving anything from your end. Another thing is also make sure you get a tripod and a stabilizer, especially on the camera department. Msema anakusaidia camera, mwambie pia kama anaweza kuget gimbal, ma tripods, nini, those things that can help you around when you are holding the camera and when you want to achieve certain movement and certain shots. Yeah, just get them. The other thing is lighting. Get the basic lighting as you can. Get some good LEDs lighting. They can be able to help you, and depending on the type of camera that you are using also, it will also allow you to just explore more when it comes to lighting, because especially when you're going for these cameras also, just go for full frame camera. It will help you also just make sure that you achieve some good look, good cinematic look while doing the project and the production, and you'll have some good image quality. And then the other thing is also the accessories. Make sure accessories zenye unaenda kupewa, maybe ma stands, manini, hizo vitu zingine, ma lenses. Yeah, just get some of them on rental, and some of them just borrow. Yeah, there's no harm, just borrow, sindio? And the other thing is achieve time management on set. So this is another essential tip. So make sure you are able to achieve time management on set. And how do you achieve time management on set? By doing proper planning prior. And so easy, utatumia call sheets kupanga wase wakuje kwa set manze on time, and they know where they are supposed to come. So call sheets, these are daily schedules that are sent to cast and crew to understand when and where they're supposed to be and what will be done at that particular point of time. Then the other thing is shortlist. Directors, please, manzi tengenezeni shortlist. Wachini ku assume ati mtafika set, mfikire venye short itapigwa hapa na hapa. That is where you start wasting time, because unafika set hauna shortlist. So mnaanza kufikiria huyu msee aingilie pale. Ndio pia anasema akiingilia hapo unaona light venye inakaa pale nje ita affect. So please plan your shortlist so you can visit the sets on a day prior or maybe before. Just understand how the set looks and then start preparing a short list based on how the set is looking. Okay, yeah, so that you don't kufika set tena mnaanza kuargue ati hapana hiyo shot ukishutia hapa inatoka uoni kwanza uoni wale watu wa background. Sasa mtaanza kuargue mpaka saa ngapi? And the DP and the DP and the director are usually sometimes they are good friends and sometimes they can be very good enemies, because director anaweza sema nataka shot flani and then the DP says that shot haitaweza. So if they don't know how to agree and collaborate on set, you find that these people become enemies or these people become friend of friends. I've said it, so watch out. Then also develop some bit of buffer time. Venye nimesema tu hapo mbele, when you're doing your planning, especially when you're doing your short list and call sheet, you identify, for example, today we are going to shoot 5 pages of a script, or maybe you're going to shoot 10 pages of a script. So if you're going to shoot 10 pages, what do? You are going to analyze, like, these 10 pages are being shot where and where. Is it one location? Is it different locations? And how do you create some bit of buffer time? For example, you're going to shoot 10 pages. So 10 pages, it means you're going to spend almost like around 10 hours or even 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours. But depending also with the story and with the flow of the shots that have been written. So of course maybe you might find yourself going to spend like 10 hours shooting or 8 hours shooting the whole script. So maybe hapo uko hakuna movement, mengi ya location asubuhi, mtashoot hapo, mkimaliza mtoke mwende. But if you are going to have movement, maybe you're going to move from one location to another while doing the production or while going to shoot other scenes in a different location. Also make sure that you understand. Google Map inaweza kuambia this place tutatoka hapa tuende to the other place na 30 minutes. Make sure you put a buffer of 1 hour. Because kuna ile parking time. Unaonaga venye wase walai tu park vitu. Unaona venye wasewa inaitwa nini, like some people wenye wanafanya cameras wamesahau batteries nini. So put a buffer time everything. If you know sometimes maybe this shoot might take us maybe 8 hours, put a buffer time of 2 hours to have like 10 hours for this thing, so that even kama kuna movements, kama kuna breaks pia, like kuna breaks and meals. Then also breaks and meals are very important, guys. Usiassume ati watu watafanya kazi from asubuhi to jioni alafu wakule later. Wewe mwenye unaniangalia, wewe ni AD, unaplaniaga wasee venye time watakula. Then unasema ati tutafanya hii shoot, tukimaliza shoot za leo, since za leo ndo tukule. Wewe bana, watu si machine bana. Watu ni binadamu na wanatumia damu. So make sure you remember to also plan for breaks. Hata kama si kukula heavy meals, let them have some bit of bitings hapo katikati, because hakuna kitu mbaya kawa si kuwork na njaa. Usiwahi work na njaa manze. Na ukiona hiyo set mna work na njaa, hiyo ni red flag. Ati mnaekwa njaa for the whole day alafu mtakula jioni. Man, no, let's not do that. Let's not go that direction. Encourage people, motivate people with food and even snacks, and just have some bit of breaks. Wacha watu wapumue kidogo. Wacha msee aende, akienda kuchange battery, anaenda anapunga hewa kidogo alafu anarudi. So plan for that. So kama hii hours tumesema unaenda kushoot hii movie for those 10 hours, have at least jua utakuwa na 2 hours za buffer time. So which means the other 8 hours are for shooting, the 2 hours are for breaks, for changing the light, setting up nini, na pia ku do some bit of maybe bitings and meals. Wake up ndani bwana. Let's not be wanyama bwana. I think I've said it, and ADs take that to the bank, and you will see how your sets will be very energetic and people will be very lively while working on your sets, and they will want to continue coming on your sets every other show. Anyway, the other thing that you also need to consider as something that you need to, a tip, you need to make sure that you have efficient organization when it comes to low budget, is ensure you provide clear communication and roles on set. Yeah, usiassume juu unajua, of course you are working with a very small crew and people will double up roles. Unaweza kuwa umeambia wewe PA utadeal na hizi grips, utadeal na malights na chuma nini, then kidogo kidogo tena unamwambia utadeal pia, utasaidia ule mse wa kamera kubeba mabetri zake kuweka hivi. So be just clear when communicating roles, and also just make sure that people understand what they are supposed to do. Kama mtu ana double up as a DP and a camera operator, and mtu ana double up mtu wa sound bado ndio boom operator, and maybe pia anafaa kufanya kitu fulani, or maybe somebody else is also a driver na bado ni wa lights. Just communicate those things effectively so that we don't have that confusion. Kuna vitu zitasahaulika mahali. Juu unaweza kuuliambia huyu PA ashike lights, kumbe cameraman alimwambia mbebe battery akaacha akabeba lights juu producer alimwambia abebe lights. Yeah, so make sure you do have some bit of good communication. So start with a meeting, of course, during in the morning, or maybe when you're starting to do the filming. Just do a debrief to make sure that everybody is at par. They understand huyu amekuja kufanya hii, huyu anafanya hii, wewe utabeba hiyo, wewe ndio wewe ni wa chakula, wewe ni wa hizi na nini. So kila mtu anajua role yake, like what they are supposed to be doing on that particular set, so that we avoid bit of confusion. Sijui mse mwingine sijui amechukua gari ya producer akaenda nayo sijui wapi, and then all of a sudden gari sijui imepata accident. Sasa nani alikutuma? Wewe uliambiwa kuna PA mtu ana deal na mambo ya kupeleka kwenda kuletea watu vitu, kubeba vitu nini, but wewe umepeleka mbele yako, umeenda kuharibu. So understand less. And then another thing is have on set etiquette. There is that on set etiquette, and I think I've talked about this, the do's and don'ts on film sets. Then make sure you also watch this video to make sure you understand the importance of everyone on set and how you're supposed to carry yourself on set. Yes. Having said all this, I know I've not exhausted everything, but allow me to end there because, guys, there's a lot to be talked about, but first of all, digest this. And when you digest this, I know it's going to help you when you're planning for your shoot. Because I know when you don't plan, you're planning to fail. And you'll get a lot of mistakes on set, and this is what makes people go through a lot of trouble while going through while shooting. And while shooting your first project, you ignore a lot of things, and that is when you find yourself going through a lot of troubles and making a lot of mistakes and missing out on many things that you were not supposed to miss out when you prepare yourself adequately. So guys, I know we have discussed a lot, and because I'm ending this video, I want you to be encouraged. So I'm encouraging you to just make sure that you are ready with your team to prepare and plan for that project to work. And until next time, see you on to the next video. And if you have any questions, guys, feel free to leave a comment or reach out to the email and the number on my screen. And please manze, wacha usichanganyikiwe sana, usichanganyikiwe na usifanye don't do a costly mistake when you're doing that short film which is on a low budget, because when that money is lost, it's gone, never to come back. Yeah, I can sing, I don't know, maybe I should try. Producers wa music mnitafute na niwapige backup ama mnipige to produce an award-winning music anyway. So thank you guys for tuning in, for watching, for following, and also for all the people who are supporting this particular show. I'm so grateful. Thank you for all those who are commenting, for those who are reaching out through my number, and until next time, cheers.